Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Late Night Live. It is Sunday. We've got me, myself, and Mr. Sam McCabe alongside me, and we are going to be discussing Ruben Amorim imminent training session tomorrow. We've also hearing a lot of reports around the club that they're very impressed with him at the minute. They like his confidence, they like his charisma. The players are really happy. But how long? Realistically, will that last for? Will it just be 6 months, or will it be a bit longer? Will we win stuff under him? I want to start ramping up that kind of conversation now about Ruben Amorim because Ipswich is literally a week away. We would have already played Ipswich by this time next week. So yeah, we'll start discussing that. I want to talk about Jadon Sancho. A couple of reports coming out of Chelsea, which probably won't surprise a couple of people, including Sam. I want to talk about the left-back situation. We've linked with Ben Chilwell and a couple more. Do we want a loan or do we want a permanent? And also the story that I covered this afternoon on Paul Pogba. Reports coming out that these reports are false, basically. So, yeah, I just want to get Sam's opinion on that. But, yeah, how was your weekend, been, Sam? Good?
Very chill. Not much to do. Just sort of house boring chores like we all have to do. So, nothing too exciting.
It's like the opposite of me because I've been mad, fucking rushed and busy. So yeah, we've got that balance somewhere in the middle. On Ruben Amorim, we have to find a lot of balance in this team, innit? Because you're looking at the injuries that's happening at the minute. Leacher, Victor Lindelof, Yoro Mount, questions on their fitness. So yeah, he's coming in tomorrow. Got a lot of things to work on. I'm sure his brain's probably going a million miles an hour, but there has been reports. Mike Keegan's done a couple of things saying the club very happy with it, his charisma and confidence. But just to speak about the manager specifically, what's different about Amorim, do we think? Let's explore that a little. Like, what does he have that other managers that have been here and failed not have?
I suppose he's not tainted with the expectation that every other manager that's come in. I think we thought every other manager that's come in was going to fix the issue. David Moyes came in, we're like, well, Fergie's handpicked him, so it must be correct. Like, it must work. And it didn't. And it's like, right, we'll get experience. So we went for Louis van Gaal, who at the time, very successful manager with Netherlands, has coached Barcelona, etc. Experience. Right, that's the guy. Didn't work. It's like, right, what do? Right, we'll go to the guy who definitely wins trophies every single time he's at a club. And went to Jose. Didn't work. And it's like, right, what did that? It's just like, oh, we'll go to a club legend because the fans will get behind him. He'll inspire the team and blah, blah, blah. Didn't work. And then we went for the hot young coach in Eric Ten Hag. Like, young is relative terms, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Young in terms of coaches, because a lot of them are 70 odd, aren't they? So.
And he hadn't been around that long, had he? He'd been around, what, like 5-6 years or something like that. So, and it didn't work. So now we've gone the hottest young coach prospect again. But I think that I went to the Talk of the Devil show and they asked, like, who's, like, 100% excited for Ruben Amorim? And half the room was, like, not excited. So I think a lot of fans are, like, expecting the same shit. He does well for a year, 18 months, and then it starts to fall apart, and then he gets sacked after 2 years, 3 seasons or something, doesn't it? That's what I think a lot of fans expect because that's been the pattern. So I think the expectation is not that high on him, I think. So I think that would be a difference. He seems to speak very well, which Ten Hag didn't have, did he? Like, Ten Hag was not... He wasn't the greatest with his words, was he? I don't know if it was a language barrier. I don't know if he didn't quite translate into English and stuff, because I know he used a few phrases wrong, but he's very confident in his English, speaks extremely well. Was talk about... He also, I think he said the thing that everybody wanted to hear, that he's not going to ask for patience because he wants to get things going straight away and he wants to find an identity, whereas other managers like, it's going to take time. So there's a couple of things there you can work with, but I think, is the lack of expectation, because nobody's expecting him to, at least I'm not, nobody's expecting him to come in and win a title. Like, it's just not, because let's be real, that's not where we are yet.
Yeah, well, I was having a look actually before. It's funny you mentioned the title. United are 100 to 1 to win the Premier League. So if you bang a tenner on that, you get £1,000 back.
Is that shorter than what Leicester were on when they won?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, they were like 4,000 to 1 or something.
That guy won like a couple of million.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, look, stranger things are happening in football. We're certainly not going to get ahead of ourselves and think we're going to win. I mean, top four is even a fucking push at this point. But I like the point you made about the age, because I do think now that kind of these young ones that are coming through, your Xabi Alonso's as well. They seem to have that connection with the players, don't they? And with Amorim being a player as well, I think he touched on this in his interview, didn't he? That he had played centre back, centre mid, everywhere. So he'd done a job for the team. I know Ten Hag was a player himself as well, but it was I don't know. I always felt like there was something lost in translation with Ten Hag. There's always something like where he couldn't quite connect with the media or the fans. It was always like felt like a bit of push and shove all the time with him. Whereas Amorim, you can see straight off the bat, even from his interviews, the way he's speaking, the way he communicates with people. I think that is such an underrated thing, like human psychology and management nowadays. I don't think that gets spoken about enough, personally.
Cristiano called him the poet, didn't he? Because of the way he speaks with the words and stuff like that. So if he's that eloquent in Portuguese, then I don't see why he couldn't be in English. And I think, that interview was impressive that he did with MUTV. And I expect more of the same when it comes to sort of press conferences. So if you saw that with Klopp, didn't you, in the early years? He was very sort of charismatic with the press, wasn't he? And then obviously towards the end, he started falling out with people and calling people fat and stuff. But didn't he? He was
bizarre.
But yeah, I think you need a part of that to keep the press on your side, at least for the sort of beginning bit, because you'll get a bit of leeway in the beginning. Then obviously if results starts going a bit sour, then they'll all pile on you, which is to be expected with United. So yeah, I think that'll help him out in the short term, but long term he's gonna have to deliver results, because that's the only thing that's gonna get people off your back is results.
I was listening to a report where there was a guy, a player. I don't know if it was when he was at Braga, who turned up for a session late and he never played again. So it was like the discipline and standards are really up there, but he also won't throw you under a bus and he will back you as much as he possibly can. So it's like a hand-in-hand relationship.
There's a guy, didn't he, who played underneath him and he couldn't afford his rent and he still pays his rent to this day or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
In Portugal. Yeah. So like if you're with him, then he's with you 100%. But if you go against him, not going to win well for you.
Yeah. What's your gut feeling telling you at the moment? Because we're a week out from Ipswich. It's not a tap-in because they've just beat Spurs. So there is they are on a bit of a bounce. You've got the McKenna narrative. Obviously, we're going to do the preview later on in the thing. But your gut instinct now with him coming in, do you feel confident?
No, I wouldn't say confident. No, I just think after the year we had last year and then the start to the season this season, my expectations are on the floor, to be honest with you. So in terms of expectation of winning anything, I don't expect us to win anything just because we had such a poor start in Europa League, and I thought that was a trophy we could win, and we've just kind of sort of dicked it up until recently under Rude. So I think he'd have to go on a tear, wouldn't he? He'd have to win like every single game to get out of this sort of situation now, which is a tall task when you're brand new to the job. If he can do what he's saying in his interview, deliver an identity, deliver a style, and we can see it, I'll be all right with that. I'm happy with that because I just couldn't see it under Ten Hag. I couldn't see what he was trying to do. If anything, there was so many mixed messages and stuff like that. But if I can see something in that Ipswich game or the next like 5-6 games, because he's got quite an easy run after this, hasn't he? Like there's quite a nice like Ipswich, Bodo Glint. Who's after that?
Ipswich, Bodo Glint, Everton. We've got in there, I think, at some point. It's like the 10 games, the 3 difficult games that you've got in it is Spurs away, City away, and Arsenal away.
So, but apart from those 3, he's got like the run's quite good.
Victoria Pleasant, you got loads of.
So I think if we can see some identity in those games, like and see some sort of style that he's trying to do, maybe we don't like flourish and just look like we did, like Sporting did in that second half against City. Maybe we don't see that. But if we see something in elements there that we can work with, I think people will get behind it. And then if he can nick a couple of results at Arsenal and City and stuff, all the better, innit? Like if you can go there to there and get a couple of results, then he's on his way. So yeah, I just need to see something. I need to see some identity. I need to see some style. Just something. Give me something, because we've struggled with it for so long and we kept waiting for it under Ten Hag. And I think I was more patient than most of the people on this channel. And it just didn't happen. It didn't deliver. So I need to see something from Ruben.
The one thing that keeps sticking in my head, though, is that, like, the Ten Hag thing, when we was all watching the football and we was like, Ajax, 70% possession, multiple goals a game, all this kind of stuff. The players he's worked with, he's good at developing young players. Hearing the same stuff. And when he came, he was like, oh, no, I can't do this style. So, I mean, it's not out of the realms possibility that he could quite literally come in and go, I can't play like that with these guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to go to this.
If it works, I don't
Everyone,
care.
if it works, you get
No.
results. Yeah, the fans won't give a shit, and they won't give a shit if they see something actually on the pitch. But I can't get that sticking point out of my mind where I'm just thinking like, I've seen these players. He's talking about intensity and things like this. I mean, if you ever watched Marcus Rashford play, I mean, when he goes into 50-50 tackles, very flaky, doesn't go fully, isn't committed at all. Tracking back at times, the situation. And not just Marcus Rashford, there's other players.
He might be a casualty. He might be one of those guys that goes. Like you said, he's ruthless. Like, if you're not going to work and you're not going to do it, I am sure he's had conversations with Jason Wilcox, Dan Ashworth, that if I come in and guys don't work, I can get rid of him, including Marcus Rashford. Like, I hope he's had those conversations, because I think that's very unfair for him to come in and they basically go, we don't care whether he works or not for your team. You're keeping him because we've signed into a massive deal. So I'm hoping he's had those reassurances.
It always felt like there was a little bit of political power in the above, especially in the old regime. So that's something, I suppose. More and more people joining the chat. Nice to see you all this evening. Let us know your thoughts and feelings on Ruben Amorim going into this fresh new week where it is officially, technically, football is back. International break, at least for England players, I think is over.
Yeah.
Didn't watch the game today. Didn't watch the game on Thursday. Couldn't give less of a fuck. And I know you feel the same way about it.
Yeah, I watched the second half because my girlfriend's family came round. They wanted it on.
Okay.
I think we beat Ireland 5-0.
Are you sat there like...
just like... we beat Ireland 5-0, so... make of that what you will.
Yeah. Did he have a man sent off?
Yes.
Yeah. So I just don't read into it too much personally. But I don't think England have any more games left.
No. If we wouldn't have finished top of the Nations League, we'd have had a playoff in March, but now we've not got anything until spring. I think the World Cup qualifiers.
Yeah, so it's next, isn't it?
Yeah, World Cup qualifiers in spring. That's the next internationals.
Okay, well, we can put that aside, thank God, and just focus on proper football, which I want to talk about. It's funny mentioning England squad, actually, because the next topic I had in mind, Sam, was Jadon Sancho, who's a long, long away from the England squad, a long way away from Manchester United. If he makes 14 appearances, is it?
I thought it was them finishing above 14th. I thought that was the
deal.
I
finished. You're right. You're correct. Yeah, finishing. Thank God it is that, because if it's 14 appearances, I don't know if he's going to make it in a minute. There's a lot of stuff ongoing with him. We had a report coming out earlier today that Sancho is reportedly unpopular among most of his Chelsea teammates. Maresca on the squad quickly picked up on issues with his attitude and work ethic. Like I said, not surprised to a lot of people, because this has been multiple clubs now. It could be absolute crap. It could just someone trying to get a story. We have to put that out there as well. But if you listen to people that are close to the player and close to the squad, and similar suggestions have been made, how do you even get him back to that form? Will he ever return to that form? Is he just destined, do you think, to always be this kind of player, in your opinion?
It's up to him, isn't it? It's down to him. If he wants it, then he has to make it happen. He's got the ability. We've seen it. Like, well, not United, but we saw it in Dortmund. Like, we've seen it at Dortmund. Like, he's got the ability.
Did we ever see it?
No.
I'm trying to think, like, there was little glimpses, weren't there, at times?
He never had a run of games where he was excellent. Never happened. Like, not a single thing. So, we saw it at Dortmund. He's got the talent, but he's just everywhere he's been. He got kicked out of England for behaviour issues and timekeeping. He left City because of the same thing. United, he's had issues. He went back on loan to Dortmund. He's now got to Chelsea, and they're having issues reportedly. So, it seems to be a pattern with this guy. Like, this just seems to be. And we've seen players like this before. We've seen so many players who are extremely, extremely talented, and you just couldn't put the pieces together to put the hard work in and put the dedication and put all that together to make a successful career. And they've sort of like lived off like reputation of the name rather than the actual ability and the sort of what they've achieved. Like, Mario Balotelli went further than any guy of his sort of behaviour and attitude should have ever have gone, shouldn't he? Yeah, he played for City, he played for Liverpool, he played for Milan, like, he played for ridiculous teams, but just could never put it together. He was just always falling apart, behaviour and stuff like that. Ravel Morrison at United, another guy who was touted, like Fergie touted him as the next big thing. Just couldn't put it together. Just could not put it together, like, for behaviour and stuff like that. And I just think Sancho's another one of those. People were saying, oh, we've got him at Chelsea now, he looks great, he's got 2 assists, and it's like, if you look at the assists, they were like a pass, and then a guy, was it Madueke or Jackson, beat 4 guys by himself and then put it in the back of the net, and you're like, hey, do we get you really? Like, come on. And now this has happened. And I think I said when he went to Chelsea, this is what'll happen. The same thing will happen, just because I just don't think his head's there. I just don't think he's got the mental attitude or the mental hard work. What's the saying? Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. And he's talented and he doesn't work hard.
But it makes me question why Enzo Maresca took a gamble on him in that way. Because as a coach, you look at his history and everything that's gone on. It is a big gamble, isn't it? I know that the price tag is relatively small. Maybe you thought, well, in my system, I could probably get the best out of him. But application is something, if they've struggled with it in each club that they've been at, how do you get it out of a player?
Maybe he thought the environment at United just wasn't suited, and that's why the application wasn't there. And he thought maybe if he comes to my environment, because Chelsea were doing quite well, and maybe he thought, like, there's always the manager ego, isn't there? Is that I can get the best out of this guy. Like, I can get something out of it. Like, coaches like Ruben Amorim coming to United, I can get back to the top. There's always that ego where it's like, I could be the guy to do this. And say you've got Jadon Sancho to his best, like his Dortmund form, and you got him for 25 million. That's quite a sort of nice little thing on your CV, isn't it? It's for Chelsea and for Enzo Maresca. Like, you got Jadon Sancho back to his best, and you only paid 25 million for him when United couldn't. Like, that looks quite good, but obviously, it's not working at the minute.
I mean, he's 25 in March.
Yeah.
It's got to start kicking on, man. Like, you get to a point with, I don't know if you throw Marcus Rashford in a similar territory potentially, with him being a winger, English. Both of them, I'm like, at the absolute best, they're super impressive players, and you know, I love them both when they're at the best. But do you see any of them getting back into the England squad now?
I think Rashford's probably closer than Sancho. I don't see Sancho ever getting back there. I don't
ever
see him. No, because there's too much talent now, isn't there? Like, you look at the talent we've got now, like Madueke, Grealish, Morgan Rogers is coming through. Like there's so many. Saka, like Gordon scored today. Bowen, like there's so many who are coming through. He'd have to be undeniable, wouldn't it, to get back in that team? Undeniable, and I just don't see him ever doing it. Rashford, maybe if he under Amorim, he has a great, like, a patchy season like he did under Ten Hag, and he has a really good sort of last 3 quarters of the season, scores a couple of goals. Maybe then he goes on the bench to the World Cup or something, maybe. But I just don't see him sustaining it long enough to get back in the team. Like, I just don't. So I just think, I think their England careers will be done. Rashford's probably closer than Sancho, I'd say.
I'd be worried if I was Rashford, though, with Amorim coming in. I don't know if he's necessarily going to get in the team. James, we're going to say no smoke without fire regarding Sancho. Yeah, and look, I get it. I completely get it. Biggest shame ever as well with Ravel, man. Yeah, it happens sometimes. You need to blend of both. You need talent and you need, like, real strong discipline.
Well, you've seen so many players who didn't have half the talent of a few other players, but because they grafted and worked hard, even at United.
Gary Neville,
Ji-Sung Park, Dennis Irwin, Gary Pallister. Like, there's so many people who were just like, on paper, you're like, well, what do they offer? But because they fucking grafted and they worked their asses off, they had a successful career. So, like, that's what it's all about. If you don't put the work in, there's only so far talent will take you. Like, it's very limited.
I think Sancho would have got away with a lot more had he been a player 20 years ago. In, like, the early 2000s. Nowadays, the way it is with fitness and routines and pattern, it's just, I don't see him getting in. So it's a shame.
You've got to fit into a system. Like, systems don't fit around you anymore. Like, this is not like when Ronaldinho was playing, where they're like, right, everybody just get the ball to him.
You can allow one to kind of.
You have to fit into the system now. And if you don't, you don't play.
Yeah. We're going to stick with Chelsea, actually, because we've got a story coming out of there about Ben Chilwell, Sam at left back. And we keep getting linked with him. I have no idea why, but it's just another shitty Sunday story, I suppose. And they've also mentioned Alvaro as well, which I kind of touched on this afternoon. But what's the correct path to go down here in terms of permanent, loan? Do we go in January? Do we go in summer? How do you handle that?
I think we need one now. I think that the need is now, because I know Malacia he played some minutes for the under-21s, didn't he? The other week.
Yeah.
But how far away is he from, like, match fitness and playing regularly? I don't know. I really don't know. Luke Shaw is apparently on his way back. Every international break, they say he's close Still haven't seen him. We've had 3 international breaks and he's still not here. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. So I think if we're like one injury away, aren't we, from Dalot and Mazraoui to being completely fucked on that fullback situation? Because if one of them goes down, we don't have it. We've got one fit fullback. So I think the need is quite desperate. Ben Chilwell isn't the answer. That's just not the answer. Like, can we just stop with this? Like, that is.
It's weird, isn't it? If he was fully fit, maybe there's some kind of argument you can make about
Why
it.
would we sign another destroyed left back who can't stay fit? Why?
Yeah.
Like, it's just
he can't get into the England team and he's always injured. It's
just the
mad,
weirdest decision in the world. But if the Alvaro deal can get done, I'd love to see him back. I rated him quite highly. I know you weren't as high as I was on him. But if we're going to play with wing backs or a back three, I think
I'd be more open.
Defensive frailties would be less so. He scored an assist, quite a few goals this season for Benfica as well.
Well for Benfica.
So, yeah, I'd love to see that. I rated him quite highly, and I thought it was a mistake to let him go. But if we could do that deal, then yeah, I'm all over it. But does he want to come back to United? That's the big issue, isn't it? Like, does he actually, after what happened and he was let go and stuff like that, when we clearly needed a left back and we let Reguilon go and then Malacia and Shaw, and he was let go anyway, does he want to come back? Right, that's the big question.
If you're going to be ruthless, I'd probably say go and get 2 in it. Like, because I think Dalot and Mazraoui can both be right backs anyway, and you've got cover if needed. Malacia and Shaw, you just don't know how they're going to be fitness wise. So you almost have to either be like completely ruthless and just say, right, Malacia go, Shaw go, and we want 2 fresh. You bring in an Alvaro, for example, who would be about what 15 mil is the buyback clause.
Yeah, something. Like that.
So you get him in, and then Alphonso Davies. I don't know. Is he going to go on a free to Madrid? Could you go in like we did with Lenny Yoro in January and go, we'll give you 10 million, 15 million?
Like James Mopetier said, go test Fulham for Anthony Robinson.
Yeah.
Go try, see what you can do there. Or Kirkez at Bournemouth.
I like Kirkez.
Go try your luck with one of those. Feel them out, see what prices they're sniffing about. Maybe you can't do it in January, but maybe you can set it up for the summer and get it done in the summer. And you keep Malacia around, because Malacia seems like he's the closest, I think, because he's played an actual game. So maybe you give Malacia this season to prove his fitness and see if he's got something, and you bring in one in January. For sure, personally, I would have let him go last summer, but for sure, I'd let him go.
It's a shame because you could utilize him so well, and this shows another one where multiple positions would be really comfortable.
Left centre back.
Left centre. That's what I mean. On that side, I think I'd rather have him in there. I've said multiple times than Lisandro, which might sound controversial, but just my opinion. Yeah, I don't know what they're because January is one of those where you always get that brief, don't you, about a month before saying, well, they say a difficult market. Don't know if we can get anything done.
Finances are tight. Blah blah blah.
All that kind of shit. So I'm not sure. Maybe Amorim's agreed something with Ineos to say, look, if needs be, kind of dip into the market and get someone, and they might be like, if it's a left back or something, then we can do that. But I suppose we'll have to wait and see what happens. One player who's not coming back, Sam, is Paul Pogba. The rumours earlier this morning from actually quite credible journalist, from what I read about him, was saying that he's coming back to United to train there, and everyone was losing their minds and shit. And I was debating it this afternoon. I thought it was quite an interesting point. But apparently, reports claiming Paul Pogba set to train at Carrington are not true. There is zero contact with Manchester United. That's from Fabrizio Romano. I think he's currently training in Miami. I just want to get your thoughts on this situation. I probably already know him, but just for the viewers' benefit, what did you think when you saw this story?
It was a bit weird, wasn't it? Because the fallout that happened between Pogba and United was quite spectacular, wasn't it? And the time he had at United was full of sort of drama and stuff, especially with his agent, was it Managerial, who's passed away. There was a lot of drama with that. I remember the Champions League game before Leipzig in like December or something, was it? And he came out and said Pogba wants to do a new challenge or something like that. He wants to move and stuff like that. He's just like, why timing it just before a game? Like, what use is this? So, a lot of fallouts with Jose as well, wasn't there? There was some quotes about was it boyfriend and girlfriend type relationship? They break up, make up, break up, make up. So yeah, and a lot of people sort of grouped him in Jesse Lingard and a couple of others, weren't they, where they were like dancing after a loss and stuff like that. People didn't like his attitude and stuff like that. I don't think he should play for United. I think that whole conversation that we had where it's like, oh, if you just get these players to unlock him, and you're just like, I can't have this conversation again. I can't. But we've done similar things for players before. Like we've had players who've played for us train at Carrington. That's how Johnny Evans got a contract. He was training at Carrington, ended up getting a contract. I think we've done it for multiple players, so it wouldn't shock me if it was true because we've done it for a few players. In terms of re-signing him, I wouldn't re-sign him. Like I just don't think that's a great idea. The guy's not played football for what, 2 years, 18 months.
Yeah.
And then he's already an issue where you'd have to sort of get him in, and then you're like, all right, we just have to build the team around him. And I'm like, I'm not here for that conversation again. Like I'm just not. So it's best to avoid it. But if he was training, like it's fine. It's happened before.
Someone put a question to me before that I actually couldn't answer, and I want to put the same question to you. If Paul Pogba come in, let's say getting back up to full fitness again, up and running, would he be our best midfielder?
No.
Tricky, innit?
Can't be Manu. Be a better midfielder.
But you have to say Pogba showed higher levels than Manu.
In his prime, right? Pogba in his prime for like France and winning the World Cup.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Right now, I'd say no. But in his prime, there's definitely a conversation. He was one of the best midfielders in the world in his prime. But I don't. There's too much sort of history and sort of like. Do you remember his last game when the fans were like having a go at him as well, and he was arguing like there's just too much of it. Like I just don't think we need that United. I think just leave it in the past. I think that's the best thing.
I got all of that, and I explained that this afternoon. I was like, I understand that, and I know it all why people wouldn't want him back, and I agree with it. It was just like 10% in my head where I was like, if you can get him playing to the ability with this new structure, with this new coach, with everything, and he was actually like being the Pogba that everyone's seen before, I think I'd be so interested. He like dovetailing in with Ugarte or something like or Casemiro. I think that could be really interesting. That's the only thing that was going in. Just a little 10% where I was like, I could explore the idea, but obviously it's been reported.
There's always players who come in and you think if we can get that guy from like next time, we'll be on to thing. Alexis Sanchez, that was a perfect example of one. It's like he was one of the best players in Europe at Arsenal at a time, wasn't he? And City were going for him. And like, we've got one of these players. It just went to shit. Falcao, another one of the best strikers on the planet, and I was so excited for that, and it just didn't work, did it? Just didn't fucking work.
I was watching a highlight clip of Falcao the other day.
Unbelievable.
It was against Barcelona, I think, where he scored a goal.
Yeah.
And I was like, I forgot how good that guy was, man. And oh my god, it was
Schweinsteiger, another one. Like you were like, this guy is unbelievable, and just there's always those moments where you're like, if we could just get him fit, or just get him, if we could just get him to the point he was at, we'll have a great play. And it doesn't work, does it?
Just the last thing I wanted to discuss. This wasn't on the agenda, but there was a story going about over the international break about Marcus Rashford being at a basketball game or something like that, and a lot of people losing their minds, saying like fucking just criticizing him. But then I also seen a picture of Casemiro, who was also at a basketball game in America. What did you make of all that nonsense that was spewed around it? People just moaning about someone watching a basketball game. I don't understand it personally.
Footballers are not allowed to have holidays, apparently.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't get it.
Like, what do you want him to do? Do you want him to be at Carrington 24/7 doing stuff?
Yeah, we've seen him do extra work as well. That's the thing. I don't like.
It's just agendas in it, and I think there's, in particular for the British press, for black English players, there's always seems to be an extra scrutiny on them, especially if they're like, I don't want to say the word flamboyant, but do you know what I mean? Like they have a personality, that sort of outward thing. Pogba, Lingard, Rashford, Raheem Sterling, those kind of guys, where they're like tattoos. They're like where Wilfried Zaha was another one. Jewelry, that, and they know rappers, Sancho, they know rappers and all this sort of stuff. They want to find something to tear them down all the time. It's always a sort of thing. And that's why Casemiro don't make it, because he's a family man. He was with his kid in Disneyland or something like that, wasn't he? So nobody cares. It's like, oh, a dad has took his kids and his wife to Disneyland. Like, nobody cares. But a young black guy, footballer, loads of money, and he's at a basketball game. It's just like, okay, let's use this thing to tear him down. He's on holiday. Like, let him go on
It's
holiday.
usually as well the older demographic
Yes.
who are giving him shit for
Yeah.
it. Like the legacy kind of
Yeah,
people
yeah.
who are like, oh, he shouldn't be doing that and doing that. Like, to be honest, if I'm a coach and you know a lot of your players have gone off into international break with they travelled around the world. That you've seen the Sandro go with a back injury basically to Argentina, the other side of the world. Yeah, and you like, I want to spend time with my family, get a bit of a release. Surely you sanction that, right? Like, yeah, cool. Like, as long as you're back training Monday morning, we're good.
Well,
like,
I saw that with Lissandro. They were saying he went there and the squad released him, and they said to him, "No, you can chill with your family in Argentina until we're back."
yeah.
But he wanted to come back to Carrington early, apparently, like to get work on it. So if the player wants to come back and and go to work early, great. But if he's entitled to a break, like he's not with the England squad, like there's no coach there. Like Ten Hag left. Amorim's only just got his visa today, so there was nobody there to, you know what I mean? So it's just like, let him have a holiday, let him have a break, for fuck's sake. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, journalists, really shit journalists have got to fill column inches, I suppose, haven't they, with something when the international breaks on.
Especially, as I was about to say, whilst international breaks on. Luckily, we've got, through the first shit week of it. This second week now, there's going to be a lot of build up to the game. There's going to be a press conference, Ruben Amorim's first official press conference. I suppose there's going to be updates on Lenny Yoro and Luke Shaw and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be a lot more exciting and a lot more stuff to do, which is always great. So stay locked in, turn on that notification bell because it's going to be a busy, busy week. Also for me individually, because I've got a massive tournament and event on Friday, which is being planned and filming some stuff for as well. So yeah, this week is just going to be manic, but suppose that's how we like it. Like to be busy, like to be pushing the channel and pushing other things. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I think we can leave it there. Late Night Live. I appreciate everyone who's watched, whether you're watching this now or if you're watching this later on, whatever it is you're doing. Hopefully everyone's had a really nice weekend, and stay tuned. Keep an eye out on our socials. Keep an eye out on our Instagram for the news stories and the quotes and the reels, and
we are
and also
we are on Blue Sky as well. So if you started up Blue Sky like I have, to sort of get away from the cesspit that is Twitter sometimes. We're on Radio Reds on Blue Sky, so there's new stuff that you not only get on Twitter, you're gonna get on Blue Sky as well. So do go follow us on. Just search Real Reds Talk.
Yeah, I've also just left a link as well. I don't know if anyone's managed to check this video out yet. I put a video outside Old Trafford yesterday discussing Amorim and this new era and chapter that we're heading into. So if you've got 10 minutes spare, 7 minutes I think the video is, so it's not even that long, go check that out and let us know your thoughts on it. But apart from that, we'll be back here tomorrow at 12 o'clock. Come and join us and let's see what next week brings us. Very exciting, Sam.
I can't wait. Ruben Amorim training, press conferences, previews, all the good stuff.
Yes, right. See you later, guys. Thank you very much for watching.